This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right, we are back.
This is the Big O Show.
One of my favorite interviews, one of my favorite people in this business. He's been a friend of mine for a long, long time, and a guy that I can always count on, always has my back, and that's Sean Salisbury, the former NFL quarterback. Of course, he does an excellent job in Houston. Sports Talk 790 from 6 to 10 in the morning. He is a must-follow on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. He is a maniac on social media. He is all over the place. He's like Saguafair. He's everywhere. Sean, good morning, my man, because it's still morning for you. How you doing, baby?
I'm doing good, bud. Thanks for having me on. I hope you're well, and all the people down in South Florida doing okay.
We're doing great, man. We're just trying to survive overall, and we're going to get through this thing and be better because of it. There's no doubt about that. So,
Agreed.
No doubt,
Agreed.
man. All right, so let's get into it. First of all, you played the position of quarterback. You know how quarterback-starved we are. We haven't had one since number 13 down here. So the question is, Sean, if you are Chris Greer and you're going to you need a quarterback, is number 5 worthy of Tua because of the health issues? Are you going to take a gamble on a guy? Because I've been telling people, he's been getting hit by quarter horses. He's now going to start getting hit by Clydesdales in the NFL. They're bigger, stronger, faster. They hit harder in this league. Can he stay healthy? And then the other question is, Herbert, do you trust him as a leader, as a guy that can overcome that kind of stuff, the maturity issues that people have talked about? So it's two different things that you worry about. With Tua, it's not really about football. It's more about health. So where does Miami go at 5 on the quarterback side? Are you comfortable taking either guy or no guy?
I would take Tua before I'd take Herbert. I believe in my heart, and listen, I'm a Pac-12 guy, and I've watched both of these guys' careers and rewatched throw after throw after throw. And I root for their success. And, hey, listen, the great thing about sitting in a room, and they're not going to be able to sit in a room, but when you've been talking to people and you're evaluating that this is the toughest, we're having, for South Florida and the Miami Dolphins since number 13, we've had this conversation way too often to find a quarterback that is your franchise guy. Now, here's the reason why. I actually am looking at this, and when we say he's beat up, the ankles, but for me, it's not the Tua where he's shredded, where his hamstrings always hurt, or he's one of those guys that whines all the time. He's had some unfortunate ankle stuff, and the hip, well, the medical expert says he's fit and ready to go. Some teams are failing him. So is there a risk? Yeah, there's a risk every time you take a quarterback, okay? And just because a guy's 6'6", 240 doesn't exactly mean that he's going to be healthy in the NFL too. So I actually believe there's more ifs next to Herbert's inconsistencies than there is next to Tua's health. I do. And yes, in 4 years, could we be having a conversation no matter who they draft, say, yeah, they need another quarterback? Yeah. And he'd tee it up and do it again. I bring you the Cleveland Browns, the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, I can go on and on with teams that have to keep doing this. Everybody doesn't get Andrew Luck or Russ Wilson or Deshaun Watson or Pat Mahomes. There's more that don't than do. So trying to find a guy, yes, it's a test. I like Tua better because I think he's a better football player. I just do. And so I say, okay, if they're both right and they've reached their potential, I think you're getting a guy, and I think Herbert can be a starter. I don't think he's ever going to be Andrew Luck type of player, but I think he's got all. He's spectacular one moment and then misses a 12-yard curl to a wide open receiver the next. And I didn't see him get better from the year he could have come out until last year. Now, does that mean he can't with proper coaching and the rest of it? No, I think he can be a good player, but there's a difference between a guy and that guy. I try to have somebody tell me when they watch tape, and nobody's been able to yet. When you watch tape, tell me how. Had another guy on an expert on this morning, and I'd like to consider myself somebody who knows the position. Tell me on why one guy's a better football player. There's risk in both. Why is the other guy better? Nobody can tell me why Herbert's better than Tua. So to me, if you're going to do it now, some say that they're not even going to draft one with that pick. Okay. Then maybe you think Jordan Love in 3 years is going to be your superstar in a year or 2 years, and he's got the higher ceiling. I got Jordan Love ahead of Herbert 5 years from now. but Herbert's played more football at a higher level. But when I look at Herbert, nothing just jumps out other than the physical, the measurables. That just doesn't jump out at me that I'm going to trust that he's going to go 30 or 35. But he can beat you with his feet if he's coached right. Tua, there's nothing on the football field. Go look at it. There's nothing as a football player that he hasn't done. He's a better football player than Herbert is, period. And I think the Dolphins are going to draft Herbert. I think Tua is a better football player. I think I got more upside with him. I just do.
So we get past those two guys. You touched a little bit on Love, and so Miami's also at 18, and they could use that pick to maybe use it for Love or move up to get Love with that pick. Where are you with Jordan Love? Because, man, I watched 5 games of him this year, Sean, and he is
very good.
Yeah, but there are moments where he makes throws, dude, that 75% of the NFL cannot make those throws.
There's no doubt. And that's what you got to ask yourself.
But you know,
and that's why when you're.
But dude, you forgot more about this position than we'll ever know. He was fantastic the year before. So you played this position. He lost his coach. He lost a lot of players to graduation. Okay, so that obviously that's going to hurt you. What did he not do on the quarterback side to be more responsible? Because while he wows you with some, he then leaves you scratching your head going, come on, kid, why'd you make that throw? You know that guy wasn't open. You know, that kind of stuff.
Right. Well, yeah, here's the deal. And that's the reason why there's ifs around all these guys. And so if you're telling me, if you're saying, could I get him at 18? If you think that Love has a high ceiling and a high floor, if you think that, man, the difference between Herbert and Love, I'm just talking out loud.
Right.
Because I think they all can be really good if they reach their potential, and we know how that goes. Potential, that P-word gets coaches fired if they don't reach potential.
Right.
So if you're telling me, okay, let's say Love was an 18, or you package your other two, the 18 and the other pick, and moved up to get him. I actually think 4 quarterbacks are going in the first 15 picks. That's just me. I think somebody is going to fall in love with Love, no pun intended, just like you said. Because, and here's what you got to ask yourself about him. Is he the guy that has to have the right coach, right system, everything going good to be a great player? Or is he the guy that when crap hits the fan, he can overcome it? We saw him be a great player with Matt Wells, who left to go to Texas Tech. And we saw him last year. He didn't have as many good players, lost a lot to graduation, and then forced balls. The thing that bothered me most about him was, does he look the part. And you watch him throw the ball and you say, the truth is, if they all hit, the highest ceiling on just raw ability is him of the 4. He's phenomenal. Burrow's the best because he checks every box other than he's got to do it a second year in a row. But we got moxie, but he's not going to be available. He's got swagger, accuracy. He played well under pressure, all those things. But Love, so that's the if you're asking yourself.
Right.
All right, if we took Herbert at 5, if we traded up, or if we got Herbert at 5, or if we waited till 18 and said, okay, what's the difference of the upside for both? Where are we going to be? Herbert's more ready to play now, but Love, I think, that's why I got him ahead of him. So you've got to ask yourself, which one is Jordan Love? Is he Matt Wells, get him around great players, and Brian Flores build something around him good? Or he's coming to a team that's not very good right now, but they got better. There's a lot of draft picks. They're trying to get better, and they're building something with Flores and Greer. Can you be patient enough and with Fitz, and can you do it to say we're going to build a good team around him, and then he's going to be great? He has got to learn it's okay to throw the ball away or take the check down, which he did not do well last year. He forced balls to places, which I like guts, but there comes a point in time, there's a difference between playing scared and playing stupid. Can't play scared, but you can't play stupid. I love him, and I think you're right. I'm not even sure he'll be there at 18. Now, he may fall to the 20s, and Bill Belichick may get him. But for my money, if you ain't taking 2 at 5, I wouldn't take Herbert at 5.
Yeah.
Even though I like him, and I may be wrong. And if I am, I'll stand up for you and say, listen, I'm glad the kid was a great player. I have no problem admitting it. I've missed a few times. Not many, but I've missed a few. When it comes to that position, I think Love's a good player, and that's a risk you have to ask yourself. Who is Love? 2 years ago or last year? And what are we going to get out of it?
You know, and Sean, let's play the shell game here, okay? Let's have a little fun with this, okay? Let's switch the shell game. Let's switch Joe Burrow and Jordan Love. Jordan Love loses his players and his coach. His season goes to crap. And I know at Utah State you weren't going to ever win a national championship or have that kind of title, or that opportunity. But then you're Joe Burrow. You're not impressive at Ohio State. You're not impressive at LSU. In comes Joe Brady, figures you out, figures the offense, puts you in a perfect position. You go out and succeed. And by the way, I'm having some fun on the stat of the draft is who's going to have more picks, the Dolphins or LSU? Because I counted LSU. It might be 15 draft picks. Dolphins have 14. So look what Burrow's playing with. Imagine if we played the shell game and we reversed the seasons. Love has 18 season this year. He had the 19 season 2 years ago. And let's go with Joe Burrow, where he had the championship season 2 years ago, but then he looks like he looked at LSU when he got there or at Ohio State. What are we doing now? You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's the one if I said about Burrow. Is he a one? People are asking. Now, Cincinnati, he's hometown kid. He had no choice. He put up numbers. And you also got to see the forest through the trees, which I tried to look through and I said, I have to talk to Ed Orgeron about this. I was actually on campus, remember, just before Joe Burrow got there. What I do love about it is Burrow overcame getting beat out, adversity, kicked in the mouth, had but didn't have a great season 2 years ago, came back, got Joe Brady, who they just fit along with Steve Huntsman, the threesome came together, and then they were spectacular. And yes, you're asking that question. You're thinking, well, man, wouldn't it have been great for Joe Burrow if Joe Brady would have taken the Cincinnati job instead of the Carolina job? Of course. And it's worth it because it's a short sample size. But, boy, was the sample size enormous. And then you look and say, okay, what if Love was on LSU's team? And what if Burrow was on Utah State's team? We can go there. Would Love have been able to be as accurate? Now, he's got a more spectacular, powerful arm. But is he – see, I think Joe Burrow's got as good a pocket presence as I've seen on a quarterback in a decade and a half. But that's exactly right. So that's why none of these guys, at least going in, make you feel – even though Joe Burrow's going to be the first pick, and I love him, you're saying, well, is he Elway or Luck when they came out? And the answer right now, statistically, you say, of course. But when you say, can he carry a team on his back when they're not good or when he doesn't have the perfect play call? But if you're Cincinnati and you're Zach Taylor, you say, well, let me adjust to some of that. Let me do some of the stuff like Andy Reid did with Mahomes, who was supposed to be a system quarterback coming from Texas Tech. What did Andy do? He took some of Texas Tech, some of West Coast, what he does, and he told us, let's fit in what this guy does. Well, not just good coaches adjust to their players. So if you're Zach Taylor, you're saying, well, I want to go study what Joe Burrow did at LSU. I want to go talk to Joe Brady about some of the RPOs and stuff he put in so we can get Burrow, since we're mortgaging our franchise on him, comfortable. Good coaches adjust to their talent. And so, yes, it is. And the shell game is a trip because all four of these guys got an if by their name. They do. If Joe's not a one-year guy. If Jordan Love is the 2 years ago guy. If Herbert ever matures and makes the simple play instead of just the spectacular one. And then if Tua can stay healthy. Well, there you have it. And if Tua was healthy, and I'm not sure I said it when I was talking about him, we wouldn't be talking about Tua and Herbert. We'd be talking about Tua and Burrow. Right. So the question is it worth the risk of getting to a place where very few can go, talent-wise, Tua, or is it a safer pick because of the injury with Herbert? And now you say, well, either one of them worth the fifth pick. That's why I can't wait for this draft. I can't wait. And the Dolphins need an offensive tackle. The Dolphins could probably get a running back. They're going to load up. And Brian Greer and Flores are doing a good job. I'm anxious to see what they do with all these picks and what they do with the quarterback situation. It seems like everybody switched now and got not Burrow, but Herbert in and up in Miami. I talked to another expert today that said he believes that the Chargers are going to get Tua and that the Miami Dolphins are actually going to take Herbert. That's been the talk. So is it a smokescreen or not? We'll see.
All right. So before I leave this position, of course, we're talking with Sean Salisbury. You can follow him on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. You know this position. You and I have been talking draft now for years, and so we like to have a little fun here always. And we know that it's a lot of miss here. It's really hard to hit on this position specifically. But you and I always like to have fun about that next tier quarterback, the back end guys, the project guys. And going to the East-West Shrine, I was really impressed with Kevin Davidson from Princeton. The kid Jake Luton from Oregon State's got me kind of interested. Nate Stanley from Iowa. For me, these are interesting projects. Even Jacob Easton from Washington. I kind of like taking a gamble on any of those four guys because I think that they have NFL qualities. Whether you can make him a quarterback or not, who the hell knows? But, man, we've seen the Dak Prescotts, the Russell Wilsons, the Joe Montanas, the Tom Bradys. So we know that quarterbacks come late. Who's a guy that kind of intrigues you, Sean? Because I know you got to have your eye on a guy out there that you like.
I do, more than one. And, when you mentioned Iowa, I was Stanley. I'm thinking, I was talking about this about 3 or 4 days ago with my producer. I said, Iowa always has that guy that comes out from Iowa that we don't talk about that stays in the league 10 years, right? It's just they always seem to have that guy at quarterback, honestly. I'll tell you, there's a couple of them. If I were to walk out on the field and just say, hey, shorts and a t-shirt, we mentioned Jordan Love, just said, hey, you guys go out there, we don't know any names. I said, Big O, sit with me. I want you to watch these guys. Shorts and a t-shirt, and just say, throw the ball around the lot. Oh, Eason's going to blow your mind now.
Yes.
The problem is the reason why he was banged up, he lost a job to Fromm, who's far less physically gifted, but never put his team in a bind. But again, like her, there's so much upside that you're like, oh my gosh, second round, third round. If I get him and he's coached right and taught right, could he be special? The answer to that is yes. Remember, when he came out of Washington and went to Georgia, he was the number one drop-back quarterback in the country. Now, that doesn't mean much, obviously. We've seen that happen before, but there's nothing he can't do with the football in his hand. He could spin it now. I can promise you that.
Big time.
The question is, can you drop it in the ocean when you stand on the beach? So I'm going to tell you one that intrigues me. You didn't mention that I love because he's been kicked in the teeth. He's been questioned. The league is starting to go the way of we need versatility and can you beat me in different ways. He's been well coached. He put up numbers after we didn't know if he could when he left. He's had a starting job. He's got experience. He lost starting job. And I still to this day believe he's the most poised football player in America in college. I didn't say best. Since he's been a freshman, we've never had a more poised player. I'm going to tell you that if you're a team with a veteran, that you got 2 redshirt years in front of you, that Jalen Hurts is going to be an NFL player.
Okay.
I got laughed at. Now, I'm not comparing him to Kyler Murray at all. I got laughed at, not laughed at, but people questioned me when I went back and watched Kyler Murray last year, and I said, get rid of Josh Rosen now. You want in my favorite, and go draft Kyler Murray first. Because at first I thought he was a 3rd or 4th round pick, and I went back and watched, questioned myself, and then I re-looked and I said, you got to take him first. He's better right now in college than Josh Rosen is as the starting quarterback in Arizona. Well, it all turned out, and he's going to be a stud. Now, he's not that guy, but I can tell you he's been taught well. He proved he can throw it. He needs some work mechanics-wise, but I'm telling you, he wins. He's poised. Somebody's going to draft him 3rd round, maybe sneak into the 2nd round. He's not a slot receiver. He is a winner, and he's a quarterback that will take over a locker room. And that 18th ranked quarterback in the league who's 2-3 to start and gets a little banged up in year 2 or 3 of Jalen Hurts' career, he's going to get the guy's going to leave his glove out on the mound, and Hurts is going to go take the job, and he's never going to get it back. So he intrigues me. But if you're just talking about raw ability, who doesn't like the way smart you're going to get? The kid, the Stanley, that's Iowa. They're solid. But when you just talk about who's got raw ability, it's the kid of Washington who lost out to Fromm, ironically, and now those two are battling it out for who's going to be the 4th or 5th or the 5th or 6th quarterback taken. But Hurts, leadership and win, and you can teach him. What he doesn't have right now, I can fix. The things he does have, you can't teach, brother. I'm just telling you. But Eason, when it just comes to spinning it, somebody's going to draft him, and then they're going to – but a couple of those guys need redshirt years before they play, and the ones I just mentioned do.
Yeah. I mean, hell, with Eason, we don't even have enough tape on you in college already as it is. You know what I mean? It's like,
and real quick, and let me say one thing about that, and you're right, I didn't mean to interrupt you, is that I would take a quarterback, and I think I've discussed this with you. Now, that they take one in the 1st round, obviously, but you know what? I would take a quarterback. For instance, let's say they draft 2 this year. If I'm the Miami Dolphins, you know what I do in the 5th round next year, 6th round? I draft a quarterback. We do it at every other position. I would do it. Bill Belichick does. Get assets. Every single year in some round, not the 1st round, in some round, I would draft a quarterback. 6th round, 5th round, 7th round, 3rd round, 2nd round, 1st. Hell, think what Belichick. He's got Brady, and he's taking Mallet, got an asset for him. Taking Brissett high, got assets for him.
Castle.
Taking Garoppolo, got assets for him. He just keeps doing it. And you know what? I do the same thing there. So if I'm Miami and I draft Tua or Herbert this year, next year, if somebody in the 5th round comes up, I'm taking him. Hell, if you got a 7th round pick this year and you think Stanley sitting there, draft him too. Why not? You can draft nobody says you can't draft 2 with your 14 picks. So go for it. But I'm a big believer in building my team with the best players. And if one of those guys is the best players, you take them. There's a lot of potential outside the first 4 quarterbacks. The question is, will they reach it and be taught well?
2 more questions before I let you go. If they don't take the quarterback at number 5, who's the player realistically you love there? What tackle, defensive lineman? I doubt Okuda's going to be there. Plus, they don't need him after signing Jones. So who's the guy that you would take at 5 if they don't take the quarterback?
There's no running back worthy of that pick.
Nope.
There's some wide receivers that are in this draft that are really, really good. And everybody, you know what? If you got 2, give me a third one. If you got 3, give me a fourth one. So I don't, you could, with the depth that you can get one later. Obviously, there's this. If you were taking at 5, you get a Wirfs and a Wills type of guy up there at the top, who's an offensive lineman type of player. Austin Jackson's rising. He's not worth the 5 picks from SC, but there's some good tackles. And I'm going to tell you, man, if it's for them, quarterback, offensive lineman, and we say maybe possibly late in the first round, maybe a running back if you think you got a home run hitter there that you can draft, Swift or one of those guys. But I'm going to tell you, if you're saying at 5, and they'll get it. If they're not drafting a quarterback, they'll either trade down. Let's say Jacksonville loved Tua and wanted to move up for whatever reason to the 5th or whoever to get him at the 5th slot. And you went to 9 and got an extra pick, and you could take possibly one of those great offensive tackles there, the 3 Thomas. There's a 3 or 4 really good ones. But you know what? For my honestly, I know it's going to sound crazy, and you'll get the tackle there. But I'll tell you somebody who I would love if they had a tackle that they had there that they didn't have to draft. I love Isaiah Simmons. I think he's going to be a monster. You can move him around. He just seems like a Flores Belichick guy. I can line you at strong safety. I can line you outside linebacker. I can put your hand in the dirt. I can say it. So if I have the luxury of versatility, he's one of those guys, even if you don't need him, you draft him because he's going to be a blast to watch. And I think he's a monster talent. But at that point, if it's not for the quarterback, and if you could trade down a couple picks, which even though they got a million of them, and still get a tackle. But if you love a tackle and don't love the quarterback, and let's say they don't take the quarterback, then draft the guy you love. Some people may not be sexy, but you know what? Guess what? Teams are built by that. Look what Indianapolis has done by getting the guard and Quentin Nelson. He's going to be there for a decade or 12 years and be in a Pro Bowl 10 or 11 of them. That's what it's going to be. So if you love that guy there at 5, then take him if you don't trust the quarterback. But I think they'll, a tackle will be there whenever it is, whether it's 5th, they trade down, or whatever they do, and he'll be a stud. And even though it may not be sexy to some, it's going to be a guy that you can pencil in and play right now because we got 3 or 4 good ones in this draft.
All right. Now, final question. Of course, we're talking with Sean Salisbury. You can follow him on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. Catch him, Sports Talk 790 in Houston, 6 to 10 every single morning. He is rocking that city of Houston. All right, so, Sean, the University of Miami got a transfer from Houston. His name is D'Eriq King. So we're going to go back to the quarterback position. So tell us how excited UM fans should be, because it looks like this kid is a player. So you tell us, you saw him in your backyard. What are University of Miami football fans getting in D'Eriq King?
Yeah, I saw him a lot. And at first about this, I had a problem with him. I thought it was Bush League to quit on your team 4 games in because the season wasn't going the way you wanted. I hated it. I ripped him and Dana, who I love. I ripped them all to shreds. So while I'm always for the kid, I thought, what teammate does this to his teammates that are seniors that need him because they're struggling? He's not playing well. I had a major issue with it. I thought, this is a punk-ass move. And then you look deeper into it, and you realize that it really was, because everybody loved the kid here. First of all, what you're getting is a multi-dimensional quarterback who can run, who can throw. He is explosive. He can beat you with his feet. If his arm's not going well that day, he can beat you with his arm. If he puts up numbers, people are going to be talking about. He is a player. There's no question. And everybody, by all accounts, loved him here. And I loved him too. And then when that came out, I thought, man, this is weak. Who does this? And then you start to think, well, college football and the way things are going and how selfish universities are and the rest. You start to think, well, maybe it's not the kid. Maybe he's doing the best, and I understand why he's doing the best. I just had a problem as a teammate thinking the right tackle or the defensive end man, dude, I'm a senior. Why you can't be bailing on me now, can you? Why didn't you do it before the season started? And then you start to go in to talk, and I think it was Rhett Lashley who said that, that the coach talked him into it. Then you start to back off. That's why we always got to step back and say, wait a minute, let me take this with a grain of salt. Who did this? Was Dana trying to save him since he knew they weren't very good? They got more veterans the next year and give them a chance. I look into it. I'm bothered more by Dana, and I love Dana. Known Dana forever. But I was more bothered by that you would do that to your upperclassmen. I thought it was weak. So I don't have a problem with the kid. I did. And then I thought, you know what? If it was Dana that forced this on him, I said, listen, here's what we'd like you to do. And his family said, okay, all right, give me another chance. And then the kid who said he was going to come back said, you know what? The best place for me is not here anymore. It's to go somewhere else. And then Miami's it. Okay, good for him. When he decided he wasn't going to play last year, and everybody said, oh, he's coming back to Houston, I said, there's no damn way in hell he's going back to play for the Cougars. He's out. Everybody in Houston Cougar land wanted, oh, no, he's coming back to be a better kid. I said, he will not be playing quarterback for you next year, meaning Houston. Well, he didn't. So I no longer – I don't have a problem with it, because initially it made it sound like locally that he just went in and said, listen, my family and I'm going to bail on the team. I'll see you next year. And that wasn't the truth. So I root for him. I think people miss him here because they need him. You guys got a good one. You guys got a guy that can help you win, that's got veteran. They'll have an offense that's similar. He'll know how to run, and that he'll hit the ground running. You got a guy that can beat you in more ways than one. Defenses are going to hate playing against him, and he's a good kid. And now that we know the story for the most part, that it wasn't just him, I don't blame him for leaving, and I would have loved him to stay here and play it out. But you know what? You guys got a good one, and one that I think you can count on, who's a veteran that gives you playmaking skills. So things change when you get the whole story. And if Dana told him to walk away from last year, and then now you open up a can of worms for him to go out and see what else is out there, Miami is probably a really good situation for him. And quite frankly, they're a better football team than Houston, and I don't blame him for going.
Is he a quarterback that depends on the athleticism, or is he a guy that can pocket pass and then use the athleticism to his advantage? What kind of a QB is he?
I think it's the combination. If you're saying, is he going to be the guy who sits there and every single day beats you from the pocket, regardless if he has no movement? No. But is he a guy that things? Here's what happens when you give somebody too much power, and he's not. And it's hard to be great at one of them, and when you're not real good at either, coaching or general manager, you're in for trouble. This is. Put it this way: if you put AJ Hinch after all that's happened with the Astros and Bill O'Brien, and said, which one would you choose? And Jeff Luhnow, the GM, they'd say, which one would you run out of 10? Now think about it. They won the division. We're up 24-0 over the Chiefs in the playoff game. They would run out Bill O'Brien. It would be 99% of the people would run out Bill O'Brien before they'd run out either one of the baseball general manager or former manager and former GM here. He's not a very well-liked guy, especially with the Hopkins situation, and now trading away a second-round pick for Cooks. It's not happy times here when it comes to football. Without Watson, this town would be going nuts.
Well,
trust me.
Let me tell you something. And Watson now practicing in a damn Merino shirt. And now we got, silly Dolphin fans thinking that they're going to trade for him. Dude,
no,
the owner will
silly.
fire O'Brien before he trades Watson, right? I mean,
well, I got news for you, though. Listen, though, I'm telling you now, Belichick's got all that power. There's not anybody else in this league. Now, power in the league, yes. And I'm telling you, Pete Carroll and Andy Reid, when you talk about power within their organization, they've got the owner afraid of the coach and the general manager, Bill O'Brien has a ton of power. If they go 8-8 next year, he's not getting fired. If they go 10-6 and make the playoffs, he'll get a pay raise. I'm just telling you, He's got carte blanche around here that the owner gives him. He can do whatever he wants. So the power within the organization. But if he went in there and if the owner didn't say you're not trading Deshaun Watson, which Bill would be nuts to do. If he tried to do that, the owner wouldn't have to do anything. The building wouldn't be standing on Kirby anymore. They'd beat it down. Trust me, that's not going to happen.
Follow him on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. He's the best. He is Sean Salisbury. Catch him at Sports Talk 790, 6 to 10 in the morning there in Houston. Sean, you're the best, my brother. Enjoy the draft. As always, much love and stay safe.
Same to you, brother. Always good to be on with you. You be safe, too. I love you guys, and you guys have a good draft. And please be careful, and we'll do this again. Thank you.
You got it, baby. You be good. There you go. The great Sean Salisbury, man. Always a great interview. All right.